Hello Stampin' Friends, this is Jeannie Moss, the Bluegrass Stamper. Welcome to my studio here in the Bluegrass state of Kentucky. Today's project is a pocket card. I really like this one because it's kind of a little plainer, not so much bright colors on the outside. It says brighter skies are on their way. And then when you pull out, it is very bright and sunny. So brighter skies are on the way. So this is what we'll be making today. We'll be using a couple of stamp sets. We will be using the Bright Skies bundle. Has clouds and rain and sun and flowers. It also has a lot of dies. These are clouds, which could be used with anything. If you have that Umbrella Days bundle, it would be really cute to have the rain and the clouds with those umbrellas. So we'll be using this smaller cloud. We'll be using the lightning bolt. I think those are the only dies we're using today. But there are more clouds. There are some that would cut out the flowers that we're using today, and you could cut out the sun that we're using. And then these are big raindrops over here, so you could cut out raindrops. So that's what we're using today. We're also going to use the dies from the Pocket Thoughts bundle. Of course, you can buy the dies separately too. And it comes with different size pockets. Now we did use the medium sized one on a previous project. It was a gift card. It was a graduation card with a gift card pocket. So that is the medium sized one, the middle one that fits a gift card. We will be using the large one today, and that actually makes a pocket for a whole card front. So those are the stamps and dies we're going to use. You'll need supplies. We have Daffodil Delight. This is slightly smaller than a quarter size, so it's slightly smaller than a normal, what we would call a normal card. It is 4 by 5 1/4. Normally our cards are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so it's about an 1/8 of an inch smaller all the way around. I've already cut out our pocket from Balmy Blue. This is this would have started with about 4 1/2 by 5 1/2 to cut that out. We've got a smaller panel. This is the one that will go inside our pocket. It's 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. We've got a strip. This is about, I think, 3/4 of an inch. Yep, 3/4 by 4. I've gone ahead and cut out a couple of the clouds using those dies. And this is just a tiny strip of that Daffodil Delight. I also went ahead and cut out the lightning bolt. And we have a piece of twine. This is from the Baker's Twine 3-color pack. It comes with the Balmy Blue. I believe that's Lemon Lolly and maybe Flirty Flamingo. I think Flirty Flamingo, could be Coastal Cabana. I would have to look that up to see. So let's get started. We're going to start by doing some stamping. I'm going to bring in my foam pad. And we will start by stamping our big cloud in Balmy Blue on the pocket. So there's our cloud. We're also going to stamp the small cloud, the stripes, on those ones that I cut out already. Now you could stamp them first and then cut them out, but I was trying to make this easier for class. So I just went ahead and cut those out, and then they could stamp on those. So there is that one. And then the other one is going to be stamped on a gray cloud. This is Smoky Slate, and it's going to be stamped in Smoky Slate. So let me just clean that a little bit. And we'll do the same thing with it. Hopefully my head is not in your way of seeing what I'm doing. And there's the gray. While we have the gray out, we're going to decide where we want our raindrops. So we're going to be putting our clouds on something like this, and then we'll have the raindrops coming down this way. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp those in the gray, and I'm going to just put those right there. And that's all the stamping for this piece. Then we'll have our greeting. The brighter skies are on their way. That is also done in that smoky slate. And we'll just stamp it on that strip and put that to the side. That's it for the gray. And now we're ready to move to our brighter colors. So we'll bring this panel in. I'm going to bring in a scrap of paper because I'm going to stamp off the edge of this a little bit. So I'll start with the Granny Apple Green and the little flower stems. So there are the flower stems. And then we'll add the flowers. Go do my yellow one first. This is Daffodil Delight. Just going to add that flower that's in the center at the bottom. So there's that one. And while I have this out, I will go ahead and stamp my sun up here in the corner. And then we're going to add another cloud with that balmy blue ink that I just had out and put away. So let me grab that back again. And we're just going to add a cloud over here on the side. There we go. And the last thing is to add a couple of Poppy Parade tulips. So there is our inside. Our next step will be to punch a hole in this, and I'm going to use this old Crop-A-Dile, which we no longer sell. I wish we did. And I'm just going to eyeball it for the center. If you want to measure it, you certainly may. And I have a piece of twine. This is about 8 inches long. I'm going to fold that in half. And I want this to be a double twine, so I am going to fold it in half one more time. And then pinch those ends together. And I'm going to try to poke it through this hole. All right, then I'll open up those loops and tuck these tails through. You've got 2 tails and another loop that you're going to tuck through and pull on those. And there's our twine. And then we'll just snip the ends, and that will take care of, get those evened up a little bit. There's There's our twine. Now this is all ready to go. So we are now ready to move on to this piece. We are ready to add our pocket to the card. So when you cut this out, it embosses score lines for you, and you can fold those down. And then I'll take my bone folder and I want to crease those really well. At this point, to adhere this to our envelope, you have a couple of choices. You can use tear and tape or you can use glue. If you use tear and tape, it's a lot less messy, but once you put it down, it's there. You can't move it around. So I actually am going to use glue, even though it is messier. It does allow me a little wiggle room to move this around. So I'm going to add my glue to these flaps. You don't want to get any glue in here because you don't want to seal that pocket shut. So just be careful to keep it on your flaps. And then we are ready to line this up where we want it. And stick it down. And now we're going to hold it for a few seconds and maybe even take our bone folder and give it a good press around those, where those flaps are. And now we'll finish up the front. So we are going to attach these clouds that we've cut and stamped, and we're going to do that with dimensionals. So I'm just going to put a couple of dimensionals behind each one of these clouds. And we'll go ahead and add these. So this little gray one, he's a little thundercloud. You can see that he's got some rain going on. Then we'll take our greeting and we're just going to snip on the diagonal to give that a little more interest. I'm going to put some adhesive, some glue right across the center of that. And then I have this little yellow, I don't know, it's probably quarter inch strip that I'm going to seal onto the back of that. And then once I've got that sealed on, I can see my diagonals. I like to wait and cut the diagonals on this because then I can match with my diagonal cut from the first piece. So we'll trim that and we'll attach this also with dimensionals. And then we'll cover up a little bit of the rain cloud so we can't see the bottom of the rain. So there we go. Looking good. Oh, and I almost forgot, I want to add this little lightning bolt. Almost forgot him. So put a little bit of glue on him. And I am going to tuck him right up under that cloud. And then I have some rhinestones, our basic rhinestones, and I will add those. So there we go. We are ready now to put our card in our pocket. If you need to, you can take your bone folder and you can open that up a little bit. And then this should slide right into that pocket. And there you have it. Brighter skies are on their way. Yes, they are. Here are your brighter skies. And you can write your message, or you could write your message on the back of that. And there's our project. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions for me, you can reach me at bluegrassstamper@gmail.com. If you'd like to see more projects, I have a website, www.bluegrassstamper.com. If you visit there, a little blue button will pop up. If you click on that and put in your name and email, you'll get a tutorial immediately. And I will add you to my email list where I send out information and a weekly free tutorial. So thank you for joining me. Until next time, goodbye.